Hello, mi gente. Welcome back to Let's Talk About It. I'm your host, Victoria Villalpando. Before we jump into today's episode, I want to say thank you. Thank you for pressing play, for making space in your day to be here with me. It truly means more than you know. This episode is personal, deeply personal. And just like I said in episode 1, I'm not here to give you advice, preach at you, or pretend to have it all together. I'm just here to share my story, my truth, my healing, and pray that it reminds you of your own strength, your own voice, and your own sacred journey. And today's episode is called The Truth About Becoming a Mom Before Becoming Myself. Because that's exactly what happened to me. I became a teen mom, a little girl raising a baby. And if I'm being honest, that was terrifying. I didn't know who I was. I was desperate for someone to love me. And in that desperation, I thought having a baby with someone would somehow fill that empty part of me that longed to feel wanted. But I wasn't aware of what it really took emotionally, spiritually, mentally to embody motherhood, to nurture another life when I haven't even learned how to nurture myself. And the truth is, I wasn't raising my firstborn with his dad. There was so much uncertainty, so much confusion on his end about whether he wanted to be with me or raise a child together. He was figuring out his life, and while that is his journey to speak on, I'll speak on mine. It hurt. There was pain, resentment, anger, even fighting. And I was left to carry that weight while still trying to find myself in it all. But let me be very transparent. I'm still that little girl healing while becoming the woman, the mother, the daughter, the one day wife, while building a business, while speaking my truth on this podcast, and while helping others find their voice too. I've learned that identity is everything, and if you don't know who you are, if you don't know whose you are, you will chase false versions of love, of success, of validation. You'll pour into empty cups hoping they'll fill you back. But true identity, true healing, it begins with God. For me, learning how to find myself meant learning how to find my identity in Christ, because when you start there, everything else starts making sense. Your purpose becomes clear, your passion becomes real, your voice becomes strong. This is just my story, my lived experience. I didn't come from money. I didn't come from a college degree. I didn't grow up being told I could be anything I dreamed of. The odds were against me, and honestly, at times I felt like giving up. I wasn't supposed to be where I am today. I was supposed to be a number, a case, a girl who messed up, someone who didn't make it. But God had a different plan for me. And even though I couldn't see it at the time, even though I felt lost and ashamed and afraid, He carried me through it all. I didn't know how to regulate my emotions. I didn't know how to use my voice. I didn't know how to express myself, but I knew I was meant for more. And somehow, even without the tools the world says you need, God gave me strength. I didn't create it out of wealth or with a fancy business degree. I created it with grit, legacy, and love because my mother, who cleaned houses for over 42 years, taught me how to work hard and carry myself with dignity even when no one was watching. I remember her picking me up from school one day because I got into a fight, not because I was the bully, but because I was being bullied. We didn't have the nice clothes, the cute shoes. I had crazy wavy hair, a little Frida Kahlo eyebrow going on. And as much as I love my girl, when I was that age, let me tell you, it wasn't happening for me. And my mom didn't let me shave my legs or wear makeup because she believed it was unholy. We can unpack all of that on a different episode. I was made fun of, laughed at, and even though I didn't understand it then, God was building strength in me. My mom and I had a complicated relationship growing up, but now as a mother, I understand her more than I could ever back then. Thanks to her strength, I built something for myself, and now in February, I'll be celebrating 3 years in business. I'm not a millionaire, I'm still figuring it out, but I know this: I was able to do that, and if I can, so can you. Recently, I had a conversation with my mom, one of those deep emotional talks that you carry with you, and let me tell you, this one really hit deep in my heart and soul, and that's why I want to share this with you. She opened up about her past, her marriage, her pain, and then she said something that broke my heart. It hurts me that all three of my daughters in some way are facing the same kind of pain, still waiting for the right kind of love. But the truth is, maybe God hasn't brought us the right man yet because we didn't know how to ask for the right kind of love. We didn't know how to see unhealthy patterns. We didn't know how to understand when a man isn't emotionally ready for commitment. And instead of walking away, we tried to prove we could fix it. We poured our hearts into relationships we were never meant to carry, not because we weren't worthy, but because we hadn't yet healed enough to believe we were. I looked at my mom and I saw the little girl still healing inside her, just like the little girl inside me. And I want her to know I'm trying. I'm really trying. I'm letting go of the parts of me that didn't know better. I'm learning how to live without losing myself. And when God says now, I want to be ready, not perfect, but whole. I also want to take a moment to say something from the bottom of my heart. God didn't just bless me with you, He blessed me with a beautiful opportunity to live life through your guys' journey of life, joy, laughter, even the tears. And if I ever made you feel like you weren't enough, if I ever made you feel like I was chasing love outside of what we already had, I'm so sorry. Because you are the foundation of everything I do. You are the real definition of unconditional love. And being your mom is the greatest honor of my life. You saved me in ways you'll never understand. You taught me strength, vulnerability, grace, and purpose. And I pray every day that I'm showing you what love should look like, not perfect but real, not performative but true, not always easy but always worth it. I know I'm not the only one. That's why I created this podcast, because I believe that identity starts within, that we have to forgive ourselves, love ourselves, and break cycles our families never even got the chance to confront. And for many of us, especially in the Latino community, we were taught not to talk about emotions, not to talk about money. We were taught to work, to survive, to keep it quiet. But silence breeds shame, and I'm done being quiet. We need to talk about these things, not to blame anyone, but to bring healing, not to point fingers, but to take our power back, to say this happened to me, but it doesn't define me. I'm sharing my story because I want to hear yours too. Heartbreak, we'll talk about that in another episode, but just know, heartbreak starts when you don't know who you are, when you haven't had the time or the tools to understand what God has placed inside of you. But that healing, that clarity, that breakthrough, it's coming, and you're not broken. You are becoming. If anything I shared today touched you, please subscribe. Share this podcast with someone you love, either a sister, a mom, a cousin, a friend, a dad, a brother, an uncle. Let them know they're not alone. And if you want to share your story, your healing, your truth, I'll put all that information in the captions and the comments. Because this space is ours. Your voice is sacred, your story is powerful, and even in chaos, there is purpose. I love you. Thank you for being here. Until next time, take a deep breath. You're exactly where you're meant to be. Love you. Bye.